Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you have never been here before, my name is Rachel and I am an indie author with over 50 books published. And I like to make videos giving, sharing my expertise and experience and advice, because I figure after 50 books, hopefully I know a thing or two. But I also like to share on here my own journey, because while I have published so many books, the indie world changes so rapidly that even I am learning new things and new things come out all the time. And yeah, it's just great to share and I just enjoy making videos. Today's video I want to talk about female characters and how to make great female characters, because female characters are very different to male characters and I want to make a video about it. So strong female characters, you've probably heard that term, but what does it actually mean? Because if we're going to be honest here, a lot of the strong female characters that we see nowadays tend to be quite the same. You know, they have the leather jacket, the sassy, sarcastic one-liners, and the ability to beat up any man who gets in their way. And sure, that can be a lot of fun to watch. Who doesn't love watching a, female beat crap out of some guy who's twice her size? But does that actually make them a strong female character? Sure, they're physically strong, but are they actually interesting? So today I want to talk you through how to write female characters who are actually interesting and actually feel real, who make you think and who stick with you long after the story is over. When people say they want a strong female character, what they usually mean is they want someone who is physically tough, independent and doesn't take crap from anyone. And these traits are great, they're brilliant. But they're surface level. They are just the leather jacket, not the actual woman wearing the jacket. So today I'm going to walk you through what I like to call the 4 layers of depth when you're making your characters. Think of it like building a character from the inside out. Each layer is going to add dimension, is going to add reality. It's going to add that spark that actually makes your readers connect with who your female character is. So by the end of this video, you're going to know how to make a character or a female character who's not just strong, but who is really compelling and interesting, and readers are going to love them. So let's dive in. I have with me my cup of tea, so excuse me. So the first layer is the wound, and this is not just your female character's backstory. And I know you're probably thinking, yeah, the tragic history that the character must have. And believe me, I've seen this so many times. I went through a stage actually where I refused to read stories where on the back it said, after the death of her parents. I was like, nope, if you can't think of a way to make your character interesting other than killing her parents off, I'm not interested. And I purposely, when I wrote my female characters, had both her parents alive because I wanted to be able to make her strong without that tragedy in her history. So when I talk about wound, what I'm saying is that it's the wound that your character has, and it's about showing how that shapes her choices through the story. So let me give you a couple of examples, because I find having examples when I'm learning is a lot better. So The Last of Us is a video game, it's also a TV series, and you have Ellie. She is the female lead in that. She's tough, she swears, she survives, she's a fighter, and so she is a strong character. But underneath all that, she's also terrified of losing people, and that fear comes from her past, from losing everybody she's ever loved. But the thing is that wound doesn't actually just sit in her backstory. It actually makes her life in the series a lot harder. When Joel tries to get close to her, she has this tendency to keep him at arm's length. But then when she finally does let somebody in, she clings on to them too tight. Her wound drives her in a way that creates both internal and external conflict for her. And that's what makes her really interesting to watch. If you want another example, we have Wednesday Addams. Her wound is actually about connection. She's built these walls around herself because caring for people is what she views as actually making you vulnerable. And we see this play out in the next Netflix series, because she also actually tries to keep people at arm's length, but what she really wants deep down is to actually fit in or belong. So when you're creating your female character, well, you need to ask yourself, what does she do because of her wound that actually makes her life harder? Does she sabotage her relationships? Does she take unnecessary risks? Does she refuse help when she needs it? Whatever it is, her wound needs to be actively shaping her decisions throughout the story. Layer 2, we have the contradiction, and this isn't just about the flaws. Obviously your characters need flaws. We are all flawed as people, so characters need to have flaws too. But the contradiction is where your character actually starts to feel like a real person instead of just a collection of traits. Real people are contradictory. We are all full of traits that just don't make any sense together. Someone can be brutally honest, but they are keeping huge secrets. Someone else can be incredibly brave in the battlefield, in the office, but they are terribly afraid of intimacy. But these are the contradictions that make us interesting. The problem with strong female characters a lot of the time is actually that they're too consistent. They're tough all the time. They're independent all the time. They never need anyone and they never show weakness. They never contradict themselves, and as a result they tend to just feel a little bit one-dimensional. Yeah, I think, oh gosh, I can't think, is it the Marvel woman? I can't think of her name. She is something Marvel. She feels one-dimensional to me because she's just tough all the time, and it drives me nuts. It's like if you look at Katniss Everdeen in Hunger Games. She is a fierce survivor who volunteers to die in place of her sister. But she is absolutely terrible at understanding her own emotions and knowing how to play the game of politics. You've got Hermione Granger, who is the most painful, rule-sticking to character in the whole of the Harry Potter thing. Like, if there is a rule about it, she's going to tell you. But she constantly breaks the rules when it means that when she has to save her friends, or there's some kind of emotional impulse. Like, she's very contradictory that way. Or then you've got Lake Crest from the Lunar Chronicles. She loves fancy dress and singing opera. She's shy, sensitive and romantic. But she's also a genius hacker who leads the rebellion. And the girly traits don't cancel out her badass traits, they coexist. And that's what makes her memorable. For the contradiction, you need to give your character two traits that shouldn't coexist. Maybe she's a ruthless businesswoman who cries at sad movies. Maybe she's a fierce warrior who loves to bake. Maybe she's cynical about love, but she believes in destiny. Whatever it is, create a contradiction that gives your female character more depth, because she deserves it. But don't fall into the habit of giving her a soft trait to make her seem more human. You know, let's make her kick-ass and a leather jacket and the sassy can beat men up, but we'll give her the soft trait of, you know, she likes knitting or whatever. That's not going to work. Real contradictions have to create internal conflict, and they make your character struggle with who she is. And it's a hard balance, but you can do it. Layer 3 is the cost. We're not just talking about bravery here. This layer separates your female characters from wish-fulfilling fantasies. Every strength your character has should cost her something, and every choice should have a price, because that's just how real life works. You can't have it all, so much as we would love to. And when a character can have it all, when she's strong and beautiful and smart and loved by everyone and has no real problems, that's when we stop caring. Think about Jo March from Little Women. Her independence is actually her defining trait. She refuses to conform to the being a woman of her time. She wants to be a writer and she absolutely refuses to marry for money. She's just not interested. But that independence costs her, because women of her time, when that story was based, do marry for money and that's what they seek. So because she wants the independence, it costs her, and she is lonely basically. But it also means for her financial struggle. It also means watching her sisters find happiness in their own traditional ways while she struggles actually to carve out the path that she wants, because the world that she's in is not set up for the life that she actually wants to lead. Or then if you look at Eleanor from Sense and Sensibility, her composure and her ability to stay calm are her strengths, but they actually cost her the ability to express her own pain. So she just bottles everything up. And what she ends up doing is taking care of everyone else while her own heart is breaking and she has nobody to tell. So that restraint ends up being both her strength but also her burden. And this works both ways, because her weakness should also actually serve her as well at some times. You know, maybe her impulsiveness gets her into trouble, but actually it also makes her spontaneous and fun. Maybe her stubbornness to some people is annoying, but it also actually keeps her fighting when everyone else would have just packed it in and given up and gone home. The point of this is that every trait has a price tag. Show us what your female character is giving up. Show us what she's missing out on. And that makes the reader invested in whether she gets what she wants or not. And the final layer is the stumble. And this might actually be the most important one, because this is probably where most writers mess it up, really. We all know characters need to fail sometimes. That's just basic story structure. But how your character fails matters just as much as the fact that your character has failed. Her failures should also be character specific, and they should reveal who she actually is as a person. So if you take like Anna from Frozen, she is so desperate for love. She falls for Hans and actually nearly gets herself killed in the process. Or if we go back to Katniss Everdeen, she fails repeatedly because she doesn't actually know how to play the political games or express her emotions. So this actually gets people killed. Or you've got Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. She doesn't actually fail because the plot needs her to. She fails because of who she is. Her selfishness drives people away, and her pride is what makes her refuse to get help. And her obsession with Ashley blinds her to what's right in front of her. It turns out that every failure then becomes a direct result of her flaws. If you compare that to a character who just fails because the script says that they should, you know, someone who makes a decision that she would never actually make, it's just that the plot needs her to make that bad decision at that point and fail. That's not a character stumbling, that's just a puppet or a centerpiece in your story. If you look at Hawke in The Blood Race, she is incredibly skilled, but she struggles with PTSD, and that isn't just there as kind of like a decoration for her personality. It's a real obstacle that trips her up all the time. So when she fails, it's actually because her trauma is getting in the way, and not just because the author needed her to fail for that plot point. So here's the key thing I want you to remember on this bit. Your character's failures should reveal who your character is, not just move the plot forward. If she is impulsive, she should fail by acting without thinking. If she is a trusting person, then she should fail by trusting the wrong person. If she is afraid of vulnerability, then she should fail because she has refused to ask for help when she needs it. But this is the beautiful thing, because when failures are character specific, her victories then tend to become more meaningful, because she's not just overcoming external obstacles, she's overcoming herself, and she's growing, she's learning, and that's what your readers are there for. That's what they want to see. So before we wrap this up, let me talk about some common mistakes that writers make when creating female characters. Mistake number 1 is making her strong and making everybody else weak. You know this character. She is the smartest person in every room, and we know it because the story makes sure we know it by making everyone else incompetent. That's not strength. I'm sorry, that's just bad writing. Real strength is shown through real challenges. If your character solves every problem so easily, if she never needs help, if she's always right, she's not strong. She's boring. And mistake number 2, which is a popular one that I see, is confusing strong with mean. A lot of writers seem to think that making the female characters aggressive and rude and dismissive actually makes them strong. It doesn't. It just makes them unpleasant and unlikable. You can make a character tough without making her cruel. You can make a character who is assertive without making her into a bit of a jerk. Mistake number 3, being afraid of femininity. You know, a female character can like dresses and makeup and all the pretty things. They can love romance and they can still be strong. Just because they like those things doesn't make them weak. She can cry, she can want a relationship, she can care about things like her appearance. None of these things make her weak. What actually would make her weak is having no agency, or no complexity, or no inner life. And finally, the last mistake is making her perfect. Please don't do this. Perfect characters are the death of storytelling. Give your character real flaws, real prejudice, I can't say that word. She needs to unlearn, basically. Give her moments where she's selfish. Give her moments where she is selfish, petty or wrong, and I'm not saying the cruel thing here, there is a difference, but that's what makes the readers care. And that's it really, it's just 4 layers. So we have the wound, give her the past that actively shapes her present. We have the contradiction, give her 2 things that oppose each other and don't fit together, so we can have the conflict in her internal external life. Give her the cost, every strength has to come with a price, and then give her the stumble, let her fail in ways that reveal who she is. The difference between a strong female character and a compelling one is depth. Real people are contradictory. We are wounded, we are brave, we are scared, we're powerful and vulnerable, and your character should be too. So don't just give us a jacket and sarcastic one-liners. Well, they are cool, they are not just the be-all and end-all. Give us the person underneath, give us the fear that drives her, give us the contradictions that make her interesting, and give us the cost of her choices, and give us the failures that reveal who she really is. But that's how you make a character who is not just strong about how a female character actually matters to your reader. Yeah. So I hope those tips helped you and helps you to craft your female characters. I'm going to do another video which is talking about mistakes people make when they make female characters, because I see loads of them. But yeah, I'm going to leave that here, and I hope it was of some use for you creating your strong female characters. And I don't really have much to say, so I am just going to go and leave this here. So bye for now.